my pleasure to introduce Kaz from Pawz Perfect Dog Training today at the Hibiscus Coast Connect at noon TNG meeting. Over to you, Kaz.
Oh, hi, Theo. Thanks, everyone. So I thought I'd give you a little bit of who I am, and I thought I'd change it up a little bit because some of you have heard this before. So today it's all about getting to know me and my business. So hi, I'm Kaz, and I'm your local dog trainer based in the Silverdale, Albany area. I help you and your dog to have fun while you learn new skills and achieve real-world results. I specialize in puppy foundation training, behavior modification training, and sports foundations. So why should you trust me to help you and your fur babies? I'm a certified pro dog trainer. I'm a certified trick dog instructor. I'm a full member of the Association of Pet Dog Trainers of New Zealand, and I've also got a pet first aid certificate. I've got many years of experience in coaching, not only dogs, but also people. I gained my first sports coaching qualification in Australia when I was 15. So that's a little whiles ago now. And then later on, when I moved to New Zealand, I received a life coaching certification. But first, a little bit about me. So you will all know from my accent that I'm Australian, and a pretty proud one to boot. I grew up and lived in New South Wales, from Blacktown in the western suburbs of Sydney to Orange in central New South Wales, and to the southern beaches of Wollongong. I married my school sweetheart. Then, as with many young marriages, we grew apart and went our separate ways. On a girls' night out in Sydney, a little while later, I quite literally bumped into this guy named Terry, and that's a great story for another time. But after a long distance international courtship, he imported me to New Zealand in 1999. We married in 2003 on the beautiful Milford Beach on Auckland's North Shore. And we've really, truly lived and loved the past 22 years. So I'm very happy in my relationship with that fantastic guy. I'm super competitive, and I guess the best way to demonstrate that is my sports background. I've represented my local region, my state, and both my country of birth, Australia, and residence, New Zealand. I've represented in a number of sports: netball, indoor netball, softball, swimming, athletics, cricket, indoor cricket, archery, and a variety of dog sports, but I'll get into that a little bit later as well. Some of the highlights for me have been performing in the dance finals on centre stage in the main theatre of Sydney Opera House. It was a pretty cool moment. Also representing Zone 1 at the New Zealand Nationals for dog obedience down in Fielding, and winning a world event and subsequently the world champion title at the inaugural 3D World Archery Tournament. And you're just a few snippets there of the medal ceremony and me in action, softball pitching and shooting a target, and getting excited when my dog won the Up Dog Nationals, catching a long distance throw, and that was about a 60-meter throw. So it's pretty wrapped with that. So in honor of the greatest boxer breeder of all time and the founder of the most beautiful breed, in my opinion, the boxer, and I don't know if you can still see me, but there's this wonderful book written by that lady called My Life with Boxers. And if you want a good read, pick that up. It's not just about the boxer, but it's about life with boxers in Germany during the war. It's a fascinating story. So in tribute to her, my life with boxers. So from the photos, you'll see the first two are my little blonde self with Sasha, and my little blonde self in lace with Sarah. So these guys were actually owned by my parents, who I'm so grateful to for believing that every child should grow up with a dog. So from early childhood through my teenage years, from pretty lace dresses to leg warmers and fluoro, these dogs saw me through the trials and tribulations of school, puberty, friendship, boyfriends, etc. Then you'll see Gretel. So this is mine. Went through a bit of a color phase there and went a little bit red because apparently in your 20s, reds are a bit raunchy. So Gretel, introducing Gretel, my very first, very own boxer. She helped me go through a marriage, a divorce, moving from the country to the city life, and quite literally, this gorgeous dog of mine, it's fair to say, saved my life on more than one occasion. Then meet Keisha. Now, Keisha was my first sports dog. She was my first dog in New Zealand, very much longed and loved for. She saw me through a very tumultuous career period where I worked for the council when they went through the super city arrangement. So it was a very exciting time and a tumultuous one as well. And also through starting my first business as a life coach. This dog was the one that ignited my passion for dog training. Okay, I can talk about him now. It's been a little while. This is my boy, Raz. He's my first boy, my first heart dog. He was forever by my side. We were forever creating new adventures together. He supported me in creating Silanza Lock and Pawz Perfect. More on that in a bit. And he's also the inspiration behind the Canine Storytime Charitable Trust and the subject of a series of children's chapter books. Stay tuned for their release dates. He also gave me my latest boy, Zeke. This is Raz's son. And he is my first NZKC champion boxer. He's the inspiration for my kennel, Adhara Boxers, and my new breeding program. Then you'll see Angel. She's my snuggle girl and my training teacher. Oh my God, have I learnt from this dog. She has pushed just about every button I have, hence the picture of her next to my keyboard, because that dog sure knows how to push the buttons. She's 18 months old now and can't believe she's lived that long, but we're working on it. Work in progress. And then my baby girl, Miss Nova. She's the next generation. Watch this space. Right. Come on. Move along, screen. Okay. So as you can see from these images, I've been training dogs in some form or another from a very young age. And my greatest training influence is this man. You'll see in the middle. My grandfather, my poppy. Please meet Mr. Arthur Robinson and his German Shepherd dog, Zorro. Now, these guys have been on television, in movies, and my time spent with my grandfather growing up was more precious than I could ever have imagined at the time, and one of the greatest influences of my life. He was an exceptional dog trainer and breeder of German Shepherd dogs. He taught me about boundaries, expectations, goals. He also taught me about the special bond between a man and a dog. He trained others how to have a good dog. And he traveled around the country in his camper van with my grandmother, and their dogs, competing at dog events. Funny now how life has come full circle. So that little picture down the bottom is my little traveling show. So my little caravan and my little vehicle that I travel around the country attending dog shows in. So it is kind of funny how the apple doesn't really fall far from the tree. So not only can I help you to train your dogs, but you can be reassured to know that I'm continually learning and growing my skills by training and competing in a variety of sports with my own dogs. So some of those sports are obedience, agility, conformation, tricks, disc dog or up dog, scent work or scent discrimination, and rallyo. I'm also continually undergoing ongoing education with a number of organisations like the School of Canine Science, Absolute Dogs, and Say Yes Dog Training. So I started my business from my home property in Albany near Dairy Flat. My training facility consists of an outdoor floodlit field and an indoor puppy training room. I also deliver my Next Steps development training program and puppy classes at the Silverdale Pets in the City daycare facility. I offer group classes and workshops, one-to-one private training sessions, and general behaviour modification consultations. But due to the current COVID level restrictions, I'm restricted to online consultation via Zoom. Ho hum. But until we reach something that looks like level 2-ish, it looks like I'm working online. So it's also been a good challenge for me to see how I can take my offering to the marketplace and put that online. There will be coming some options very soon. So please hang out and have a look for that. So I'm a positive games-based dog trainer. My focus is on providing modern, effective, and fun training solutions that work and are backed up by both science and evidence. I use a variety of positive motivational training methods, which include using markers, toys, food, and your dog's natural behaviors to train your dog to make good choices. So I believe that dogs are so much more willing to engage with you when you're having fun, and that's why I incorporate fun training games into my program. So here's a few pictures of some of my clients training and having fun with their dogs, being good dogs. So over the years, I've learned that dog training is so much easier if you start out with expectations, boundaries, and a goal in mind, much like what I did with my coaching clients and with my own personal sports journey. When you're working with a dog, you're learning a new way of being in your energy and a new way of how to communicate. You have to be clear, consistent, and calm. Not that different from what's required in the workplace or with business. And from that premise, I've developed a number of training programs. So they're baby, I call them my bubbies, baby puppy start right, perfect puppy, trick stars, good dog level 1. And these classes or group classes are all held at my property and also at Silverdale Pets in the City. And I can also provide one-to-one in-home or sports consultations. At the moment, that's all being done via Zoom. I can also provide dog safety for children through a bunch of fun interactive activities. Once we get into more likely level 1, then in partnership with a fellow trainer, I also provide a series of workshops in the North, South and Central Auckland, things that are focused specifically on a target area like recall or walking on lead, scent foundation, and those troublesome teens. No different to the human variety. So one of my dog training philosophies is to ditch the bowl and enrich your dog's life. Pour value into your relationship, not into your dog's food bowl. So you use your dog's daily food allowance to reward your dog and take advantage of all that yummy food that you're just throwing away into the bowl. And what I like to do is teach people how to be creative with how they deliver that food allowance and make it super enjoyable. Having their dog work for their food and use their brains is really stimulating for the dog and helps to grow the relationship between you and your dog. So I have an online store on my website, and here are a few options that are available. Things like, you might have heard things like a snuffle mat or a licky mat or stuffables or puzzle feeders. There's lots of different options there. And everything I put on my website, I have experimented with and trade tested on my own dogs. So I can very happily recommend them. I mentioned earlier a product called Silanza Lock. This is my other passion and my other little side business, hopefully soon to take off in another direction. But this is Silanza Lock, and these are door lock extension bars designed by my dad. Yep, you guessed it. His name is Lance, and that's why the company's called Silanza Lock, as a tribute to him. And essentially it was designed because I wanted a way of being able to lock my vehicle and keep my dog safe, my vehicle locked, and provide adequate ventilation while they're in there. Summer's coming, great time for a gift for Christmas. So how does it work? It just attaches to your existing locking mechanism, extends the open area of the boot, so you can see on the image here, locks with your existing key. You can't cut it unless you've got power tools, so it's very safe. Ultimately, if someone really wants to get into your car, they're going to smash a window, but that's going to be a bit noisy, so you're probably safe. And it helps you to want to take your dog more places. So upcoming dates for my workshops and events and classes. It's a good guess. Your guess is probably as good as mine, but we're looking at level 2, 1-ish. So as soon as the government lets us know when that will be, I am going to be loading those information up onto my website. So watch this space. It's a little bit like that. Watch this space, watch this space. So what does the future hold for me? So these are some of my little adventures. I've got Adhara Boxes, which is my kennel name, Team Boxer, which is my personal adventures with my dogs, Canine Story Time, as you can see, is inspired by little Raz, Silanza Lock, and the storybooks. So keep an eye out for those little logos around the place, and you'll be able to recognize them as something that we're involved with. If you want to follow us, we can be found on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. And here are the ones for Pawz Perfect. The other brands have their own links if you want to go and have a look at that. You'll see some cool videos and pictures of our adventures on there. So if you would like to connect with me, it's Kaz at Pawz Perfect, Kaz at Silanza Lock, and they're my phone numbers. And if you'd like to help me, you can direct people to my online store. It's one way I can make money, not a lot, but it's something to keep paying for the dog food. So that would be really good if you could direct your friends that way. And have a chat to people if they're struggling with their dogs, because I can still help them via Zoom. It's not the same as one-on-one, but it's still really useful. So that's the end, or my end. If you would like to ask any questions, I'd love to answer them.
Thanks, Kaz. We could have the screen back and just open it up to anyone that wants to raise any questions. Well done. Any questions for Kaz from our dog lovers?
Kaz, do you believe there's a more intelligent dog breed than another?
That's a really good question. I don't believe that intelligence is the factor. I believe it's about motivation and finding what your dog's motivational triggers are. And some dogs are happy to work and do the same thing and repeat it over and over again, like a working dog breed, like a border collie. They will, the example I use for people of this exact question is pick up a ball and throw it. A tennis ball. They get a tennis ball. Get a border collie, they'll go get it, bring it back, go get it, bring it back, go get it, bring it back, go. You can do it all day long. With a Kelpie or a what are they called? Cattle dog, blue heeler. They'll go back and get that ball and bring it back all day long. You'll end up having to use a tennis racket because your arm will fall off. With things like bully breeds, like a boxer, for example, because I've got a few of those, throw a tennis ball, they'll go get it, bring it back. If they haven't squished it by the time you brought it back, you get a second throw. Third throw, they usually stand about halfway and go, hang on a second, you go get the ball. Why am I doing all the running? So you could argue that's intelligence. You could argue who's more intelligent here, which breed. They're both really smart, but both have a different motivating factor in their work ethic, I guess. So no.
Hey, Kaz, I've got a question. Sorry.
Yeah, go for it, Natalie.
So just as a matter of interest, I don't know if they do it here, but I know back home, we'd have a lot of friends in that would, it's like I think you call it a gong. It's like a little rubber thing that you'd give them to like bite on or something. But my actual question is, I would hear people would put a little bit of peanut butter in there because it would keep them busy to like, is that good for them to have peanut butter, or is it probably not the best thing to do? Or
that's a really good question. That's a really, really good question. So you're talking about Kong products, and this is
yes.
So this is one type of Kong product. I'm not sure if you can see it. This is a Kong Wubba, which is one of my favorites. It's got a, sorry, my dog's going to go mental. Squeak and little fluffy legs. So dogs love that. But the one you're talking about looks like that shape, so the double bubble shape, and it's hollow on the inside. And there are things like licky mats and stuffables, and you can use peanut butter. Be really careful about what type of peanut butter you use, because there is an active ingredient in some peanut butters which is not good for dogs. So I like to recommend people use Pix peanut butter, because it is just peanut butter.
Choice.
And it's yummy, and dogs really like it. And you just smear that on there, and because it takes a long time for them to lick, and licking is a really calming, soothing activity for dogs to do. So that's why people like to do it. A really good time to actually ask that question, because with Cracker Night or Guy Fawkes coming up, over here.
Oh,
A lot of dogs get quite stressed out by fireworks. So if you were to give them a stuffable full of their yummy frozen treats, it can be vegetables, depending on what your dog likes to eat, peanut butter, or a mixture of mince all frozen up in there. They've got to work really hard to get it out. That licking activity helps to soothe them with that stressful environment.
When you say frozen, like what do you mean when you say like frozen vegetables? You make little, like in a little ice tray and then
So for example, on the licky mats, my dogs like roasted pumpkin and Greek yogurt. So I roast some pumpkin and I smear it into the licky mat with a bit of Greek yogurt, and then I put them in the freezer, so it's like this really yummy popsicle in summer, and because it's frozen it takes a little bit longer. But speaking of intelligence, I've got the Staffy who will grab the licky mat, which is a square thing, and squish it in half, and all the frozen bits fall out, and all done in about 5 seconds. So you could argue intelligence there again with the use of that. She won't lick it for hours, she'll just chew it and it's gone.
That's
amazing.
And are these licky mats good for husbands who might be in the dog box at any time?
Yeah.
Well, I don't see why not. I suppose you could, put roast dinner in a blender and then smear it in a licky mat and put it in the freezer.
Fill it full of beer.
With the beer on the side. Oh, good.
Or smear a bit of feta cheese or something inside. Yeah.
So mythos.
Anyway,
So
any more serious questions for Kaz?
Kaz,
Kaz,
what's
just-
go on, you go,
Yeah,
David.
There you go, Jonathan. You're right.
Kaz, what does a box of puppy cost these days if you wanted to buy one?
Well, that depends on whether you're buying through a reputable breeder and whether that dog has had health testing. It can cost you anywhere from $2,000 to about $3,500, $4,000. I find most breeders charge on the lower end, which is really interesting for me going newly into that breeding. But don't be fooled by the cost. I found out the other day, if you want to import semen, it can cost anywhere up to $30,000. So if you want to get, I won't be doing that anytime soon. But, we're using the local blokes here, I think, for that. But, so it's something to think about when you're purchasing a dog. Don't just think about the price, but think about the years and years of study into the genetics and the health that's gone behind those dogs to make sure that they've got the healthiest, most structurally sound dogs that the breeders are quite passionate about breeding. As you can probably tell, I'm quite passionate about breed versus backyard breeding. That'll cost me something, won't it? Damn being opinionated. Damn being opinionated. Next, save me someone.
Yeah, Kaz, I can understand your love for boxes because we used to have one, but we just couldn't get another one because we missed it too much. So that's why we went down the rescue dog route. But one comment is I'm just hoping that this idiotic government can open up businesses like yours once they get a vaccination sort of passport going. It just seems ridiculous that if people have done the right thing and they've got their vaccinations, why the hell can't they go and start doing stuff?
Exactly.
I'm starting to get quite annoyed about it, actually.
Yeah, look,
That's David.
Contact me every day saying, "Hey, Kaz, I'm fully vaccinated. Can you just walk next to me and give me some tips while I'm, stop my dog dragging me down the road?" And it's hard because I'd love nothing better than to say, "Yeah, sure, we can just pretend we